So Anthropic just dropped a feature that's trying to change the game. It's all about turning your AI assistant from just a tool you tell what to do into a real teammate. You know, one that's always on, always connected, and can actually act on its own. Let's dig into what Claude Code Channels is all about.
And that question really gets to the heart of what Claude Code Channels is trying to solve. I mean, think about it. You step away from your computer and a critical system alert goes off. Normally, that just sits in some inbox waiting for you. But what if your AI could see it, understand it, and get to work on a fix right away? That's the big idea here, moving from a passive tool to an active, responsive partner.
So what is this new bridge we're talking about? Well, it's a feature that creates a direct connection between the outside world, like your chat apps, monitoring tools, or deployment pipelines, and your live, running coding session with Claude. It's basically opening up a direct line of communication.
Okay, the keyword here is channel. And really, it's just a server that pushes things like messages or alerts into your running Claude session. Now, that word running is super important. We're not talking about firing up a brand new, clean instance in the cloud for every little task. No, this is about feeding an event directly to the AI that's already on your computer, the one that already knows your project inside and out. And that continuity, that's the secret sauce. It means Claude doesn't have to start from scratch every single time something new comes in. It remembers what you were just doing, it has access to all your local files, even the ones you haven't saved yet, and it knows the whole history of your debugging session. That shared context is what makes this whole thing so powerful.
So how does this actually work, under the hood? Well, the whole setup is about connecting the tools you already use every day directly to Claude and turning them into triggers for your AI teaming.
This table does a great job of showing what makes channels so different. See, other features are great for starting new tasks or maybe steering things while you're away, but channels are specifically for getting real-time events from the outside world into your local active coding environment. It's that inbound connection that's been the missing piece of the puzzle.
And what's cool is, setting this up is actually pretty straightforward. You're not building some complex integration from the ground up. You're basically just creating a secure link between a chat app, like Telegram, and your local Claude instance so they can talk to each other. It's that simple.
All right, so the setup is easy enough, but what can you actually do with this thing? This is where it gets really interesting, where Claude goes from just being an assistant you give commands to an active agent that can take initiative.
Come on, we've all been there, right? Trying to SSH into a server from your phone to check on some long-running task. It's awful. Now you can just send a simple message to your ClaudeBot on Telegram. Something like, hey, how's that script doing? Or, can you apply this quick patch? And you get a nice, clean answer right back in your chat. No more tiny keyboards.
Or think about this scenario. Your deployment pipeline breaks. Instead of just sending you a boring email alert, a webhook can shoot that failure event directly into your Claude session. Claude, which already has your code open, can immediately start looking at what went wrong, reading the logs, and maybe even drafting a fix before you've even had a chance to switch windows. This is huge. It basically turns Claude into your team's first responder for production problems. For a small team or a solo dev, that is a massive, massive advantage. An error pops up, the alert goes straight to the AI, and it immediately starts collecting logs and trying to figure out the problem. It turns that moment of chaos into a structured, organized response. So, what's the big takeaway for you? Well, it just makes your AI assistant way more seamless, accessible, and proactive. It hangs out where you're already working, it remembers what you're doing, and it can actually react on your behalf.
Now, a feature like this doesn't just appear out of nowhere, right? It's part of a much bigger trend that's happening in how we expect to interact with our AI agents. From a business point of view, a feature like this is all about stickiness. Once you start building automations where your deployment pipeline or your alert system relies on Claude, it gets woven deep into your workflow. It's not just a tool you open anymore. It becomes part of your operational fabric, and that's a big deal.
And you really can't talk about this kind of interaction without mentioning OpenClaw. It's an open source project that really showed the world that people want these kinds of persistent, self-hosted AIs that you can chat with from anywhere. They basically prove there's a huge demand for this type of always-on, accessible agent.
So how do they stack up? Well, right now it's not exactly an apples-to-apples comparison. Claude Channels is a brand new, very focused feature for a specific coding assistant. OpenClaw, on the other hand, is a much broader, more mature platform for a general-purpose AI. So while Anthropic is definitely borrowing from a similar playbook, their focus is way tighter, at least for now.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. What does all this really mean for the future of how we work? Because this is way more than just a new feature, it's a peek at what's coming next.
What we're seeing here is a huge shift in how we even think about AI. We're moving away from this idea that you have to go to an AI tool, open a website, launch an app. Instead, we're moving towards a future where the AI is just there. It's an ambient, reachable operator that's just woven into the communication tools we already use every single day.
And that kind of leaves us with a pretty powerful thought. This is the beginning of the ambient persistent agent. It's a teammate that works right alongside you, responding to things happening in the digital world just like a human would. But it's a teammate you might never actually see. It's just a presence in your channels, always on and always ready to lend a hand.